The first time Hana saw Kwame, snow was falling over the university courtyard, like torn paper drifting from the sky. She was 17, still in her final year of high school in Seoul, wearing her gray school coat with the sleeves too long for her hands. Her backpack hung heavily on one shoulder as she hurried past the university gates to meet her older cousin. She hated the cold, hated crowded streets, hated how everyone in Seoul always looked like they were rushing toward a life she hadn't figured out yet. Then she bumped into him, books scattered across the pavement. "Oh, I'm sorry." Hana quickly bent down, embarrassed. A deep voice answered gently, "No, it's okay." She looked up. He was tall, dark-skinned, with tired but kind eyes. His scarf was wrapped loosely around his neck, and snowflakes rested in his short curls. He looked older than the university students around him, more serious somehow. He smiled faintly, and Hana forgot the cold. "My Korean is not perfect," he said carefully, "but I think this book belongs to you." She laughed softly. "No, it's yours." He looked down and chuckled too. That was how it began. Kwame Mensah was 28 years old and had moved from Ghana to South Korea 2 years earlier to pursue graduate studies in international economics. He worked late nights at a convenience store near campus to support himself. Most people ignored him. Some stared. Hana didn't. At first their meetings were accidental, then intentional. She started visiting the convenience store after school, pretending she needed snacks she never ate. Kwame noticed quickly. "You like strawberry milk too much," he teased one evening. "I come for the conversation," she admitted boldly. He laughed, but there was caution in his eyes. "You're too young to flirt with men working night shifts. You're too serious for someone drinking banana milk." That made him laugh harder, and from that moment Hana believed she had won something invisible. For Hana, love felt like rebellion. Her parents controlled everything: her grades, her clothes, her future. Her mother wanted her to become a lawyer. Her father expected perfection. Every dinner conversation sounded like an interview. "How are your grades? What universities are you applying to? You spend too much time on your phone. Do not embarrass this family." But Kwame listened to her, really listened. He asked her what music she liked, what scared her, what dreams she had hidden from everyone else. No one had ever done that before. One night, sitting beside the Han River beneath glowing bridge lights, Hana whispered, "Sometimes I feel invisible in my own house." Kwame looked at her quietly. "In Ghana," he said softly, "my mother used to say people become dangerous when they are not seen." She looked at him. Dangerous? To themselves, to the world. Loneliness changes people. For the first time in years, Hana felt understood, and that feeling became addictive. When Hana finally confessed her feelings, it was raining. They stood under the awning outside the convenience store after his shift. "I like you," she blurted out. Kwame froze. "Hana, I know your age." "You are 17. "I know. You're still a child." "I'm not a child." "Yes," he said firmly. "You are." His words stung her pride, but then he sighed deeply, exhausted. "You don't understand how complicated this is. Then explain it to me." He looked away toward the wet street. "I came here to build a future. One mistake could destroy everything." "Am I a mistake?" His silence answered too loudly. Hana's eyes filled with tears. She turned to leave, humiliated. Then he grabbed her wrist gently. "Hana." The softness in his voice broke her completely. That was the beginning of everything they should have stopped. Months passed, secret dates, hidden phone calls, quiet nights walking through Seoul while pretending they were ordinary. To Hana, it felt romantic. To Kwame, it felt dangerous. He tried to end things many times. Every time she cried, he stayed. Every time he said, "This is wrong," she answered, "but we love each other." And eventually, love became an excuse neither of them questioned enough. Her parents discovered the relationship in spring, Hana's mother found messages on her phone. The shouting shook the apartment walls. "He is 28?" her father roared. "He loves me." "He is taking advantage of you." "No, he isn't," her mother cried openly. "Hana, this man is almost 30. "You don't know him." Her father slammed his hand against the table so hard the dishes rattled. "He is a predator." "He's not. You are underage. You just hate him because he's foreign." The room fell silent. Her father looked wounded. Her mother whispered, "Don't say that." But Hana was too angry to stop. That night, her father drove to the university looking for Kwame. Kwame stood outside the dormitory, while Hana's father shouted at him in front of strangers, "You stay away from my daughter." Kwame remained silent. "You think, because she's young and naive, you can ruin her life?" Kwame lowered his eyes. "I never meant." "You are a grown man." Students nearby pretended not to stare. Humiliation burned through Kwame's chest. "I care about her," he said quietly. "That is exactly the problem." After that, everything changed. Hana's parents restricted her movements. They took away her phone. Her mother cried almost every night. Kwame stopped answering calls for weeks. But love, especially forbidden love, does not die quietly. It grows in silence, and Hana refused to let go. One evening, she sneaked out after midnight to meet him near the river. When she saw him waiting beneath the streetlights, her anger melted instantly into tears. "You disappeared." Kwame looked exhausted. "I was trying to do the right thing. By abandoning me?" "Hana, your parents are right." The words shattered her. "You don't mean that." "I do." "You said you loved me." "I do love you." "Then why are you pushing me away?" He looked at her with painful honesty. "Because loving someone is not always enough." The wind blew cold between them. For a long moment neither spoke. Then Hana stepped closer and wrapped her arms around him, and he held her back. That was the moment both of them crossed the line they could never uncross. Summer arrived heavy and humid. Hana graduated high school, but celebration no longer existed inside her home. Her parents barely spoke to her, except to argue. Her mother watched her constantly. Her father became colder every day. Meanwhile, Kwame was drowning in guilt. He stopped sleeping properly. His studies suffered. At work, he made mistakes counting money. Every time he looked at Hana, he felt both overwhelming love and terrible fear. He knew the truth. No matter how gentle their relationship felt, the world would never see it that way. Maybe the world was right. One afternoon, Hana arrived unexpectedly at his apartment. Tiny, cramped, barely enough room for one person. "You need curtains," she said, trying to smile. "Hana, you shouldn't be here." "You always say that." "Because it's true." She noticed the dark circles beneath his eyes. "You haven't been sleeping." "Neither have you," he wanted to say. Instead, he sat quietly while she moved around the apartment, pretending things were normal. Then suddenly she asked, "Do you regret loving me?" The question hit him hard. Kwame stared at the floor. "No." "Then why do you keep acting like I'm ruining your life?" "You're not ruining my life." "You look miserable." He laughed bitterly. "Because I'm terrified." "Of what?" "Of hurting you." Hana softened immediately. "You won't." But he already had. Weeks later, Hana began feeling sick. At first she ignored it. Stress, she thought. But the nausea continued. Then her period never came. Fear settled into her stomach like ice. She bought a pregnancy test secretly from a pharmacy far from home. Her hands shook so badly she almost dropped it in the bathroom. 2 lines. Positive. For several seconds, the world stopped moving. Then panic crashed into her all at once. "No," she whispered, again and again. "No, no, no." Kwame arrived an hour later after her frantic messages. When Hana opened the apartment door, her face was pale. "What happened?" She handed him the test silently. His expression emptied completely. The room became unbearably quiet. Finally, he sat down heavily. Neither spoke for a long time. Then Hana started crying. "I don't know what to do." Kwame covered his face with both hands. His entire future flashed before him, collapsing piece by piece. School, visa, reputation, her family, her life, the child. "Oh God," he whispered. Hana looked at him desperately. "Say something." But what could he say? "Congratulations? I'm sorry? Everything will be okay?" None of it felt true. When Hana's mother discovered the pregnancy weeks later, the scream that escaped her sounded almost animal. Her father stood frozen in disbelief. Then rage exploded. "You got pregnant," he shouted. Hana cried openly. "I was going to tell you." "When?" "After your life was destroyed." Her mother collapsed into a chair, sobbing. My daughter. "He loves me," Hana cried desperately. Her father pointed toward the door. "That man ruined you." "No, he used you. You don't understand anything." Her father's face twisted with heartbreak. "You are 17. Those words silenced the room. 17. Not a woman. Not fully grown. Still someone's child. And suddenly even Hana could feel the weight of it. That night she called Kwame repeatedly. When he finally answered, his voice sounded broken. "My parents know." Silence. Then, "Are you okay?" "No." Neither was he. "They want me to leave you." Kwame closed his eyes painfully. "Maybe you should." Hana froze. "What?" "You deserve a future without this." "Without me?" She heard the unspoken words clearly. "You want me to raise this baby alone?" "No." "Then what are you saying?" Kwame leaned against the wall, feeling trapped inside his own mistakes. "I'm saying, I don't know how to fix this." For the first time since they met, Hana wondered if love alone could truly survive reality. And deep down, Kwame already knew the answer. News spread quietly among relatives. Whispers followed Hana everywhere. Her mother stopped attending church from shame. Her father worked longer hours to avoid coming home. Inside the apartment, silence became another person living with them. Hana hated it. She hated the pity in her mother's eyes. She hated the disappointment in her father's voice. But most of all, she hated herself for still loving Kwame despite everything. One evening, her father sat beside her for the first time in weeks. "You still want to see him?" Hana stared ahead quietly. "Yes." Her father looked exhausted beyond words. "Hana, when you were born, I promised myself I would protect you from pain." Tears filled her eyes instantly. "You think I don't know that? He is too old for you. I love him. That does not make this healthy." She looked down. For once, she had no argument. Meanwhile, Kwame faced consequences of his own. The university administration had begun hearing rumors. Some classmates avoided him entirely now. Others judged him openly. One professor called him into his office. "You need to understand the seriousness of this situation." Kwame nodded silently. "If legal issues arise, your visa could be affected." The words struck like a hammer. Afterward, Kwame walked through Seoul for hours, unable to breathe properly. Everything he worked for was collapsing. Yet the thing hurting him most was Hana, because despite everything, he still loved her deeply. And maybe that made everything worse. When they met again after weeks apart, Hana noticed he looked thinner. "You're not eating." "You sound like my mother. I'm serious." They sat quietly near the river, where they first fell in love, but now even the city lights looked colder. "I'm scared," Hana admitted softly. Kwame reached for her hand instinctively, then hesitated. Finally, he held it anyway. "I know. What if I become a terrible mother?" "You won't." "How do you know?" He smiled sadly. "Because you care enough to ask." For a brief moment, they looked like any couple preparing for parenthood, but reality sat heavily between them. Age, power, Fear, judgment, regret, love tangled painfully together. Hana, Kwame said quietly, if you want to leave me, I will understand. Her eyes widened instantly. You keep saying that because you still have time to build a normal life. And what about you? He laughed softly without humor. I stopped having a normal life a long time ago. She grabbed his hand tighter. I don't want anyone else. Kwame looked at her for a long time, then finally confessed the truth he had buried for months. I should have protected you from me. Tears slipped down Hana's face. But you didn't. No. And neither of them knew how to undo the past. Autumn arrived quietly. The leaves turned gold across Seoul, falling onto sidewalks where strangers walked without knowing the storms hidden inside other people's lives. Hana's pregnancy began to show. Her mother attended doctor appointments with her now, though conversation remained painfully limited. One afternoon after the appointment, her mother finally spoke honestly. Do you know why I was so angry? Hana stared out the car window. Because I disappointed you. No, her mother whispered. Because I was afraid. Hana looked at her. When I saw that man, all I could think was that my daughter was too young to carry this much responsibility. Tears gathered in her mother's eyes. You were still sleeping with stuffed animals last year. Hana laughed weakly through tears. The truth hurt because it was true. That evening, Hana met Kwame one last time near the Han River. The wind carried the scent of rain. Kwame looked at her stomach quietly, emotion filling his face. That's our child. Yes. For a moment, wonder softened everything. Then reality returned. My father says if I stay with you, he'll never forgive me. Kwame nodded slowly. He shouldn't have to. Hana looked at him sharply. Why do you keep punishing yourself? Because I know what this looks like. You're not evil. Maybe not, he said softly, but maybe I was selfish. The honesty in his voice shattered her defenses. Kwame took a deep breath. I loved how you made me feel seen, important, less alone. He swallowed hard. But you were still growing up, Hana, and I should have remembered that every second. Hana cried silently. I don't know how to stop loving you. Kwame's eyes filled too. You may never fully stop. The river moved quietly behind them, life continuing no matter who broke apart beside it. Will you leave Korea? Hana asked finally. I think I should. The words felt like knives. But the baby, I'll support you however I can. That's not the same. I know. She looked at him desperately, like she wanted him to change reality itself. But some mistakes could not be rewritten into fairy tales. Before leaving, Kwame placed one trembling hand gently against her stomach. A father touching a future he might never truly know. I'm sorry, he whispered. For what? For all the ways love became pain. Hana broke down crying, and for the first time Kwame cried too, not because he was losing her, but because he finally understood that loving someone did not erase responsibility. Sometimes love itself could become harmful when timing, maturity, and power were unequal, and accepting that truth was its own kind of heartbreak. Months later, snow began falling over Seoul again. Hana stood near her apartment window, holding her newborn daughter carefully against her chest. Tiny fingers, warm breathing, a whole new life. Her parents had softened after the birth, not completely, but enough to help, enough to stay, enough to remind Hana that love could survive disappointment too. Kwame had returned to Ghana before the child was born. Sometimes he sent letters, sometimes money, sometimes silence. Hana never knew whether reading his words healed her or reopened wounds. But every winter, when snow fell quietly over the city, she remembered the university courtyard where everything began. The books, the apology, the smile, and the moment her life changed forever. Not into a romance, not into a tragedy, but into something far more human, a story about loneliness, choices, consequences, and the painful truth that love alone is not always enough.